we're on the record. The following is videotaped deposition of William Matouk, taken the matter of Joann Matouk Romain v. the City of Grosse Pointe Farms. This case is to be held in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan, Southern Division. The case number is 14 CV 142289 LVP. We are located at 26700 Lasher Road in Southfield, Michigan. Today's date is December 9, 2016. The time is approximately 6:10 a.m. and I'll counsel introduce yourselves, please.
Keith Altman on behalf of the plaintiff.
May it please the court, George Segrett on behalf of the City of Grosse Pointe Farms. Director Jensen, Jack Patterson, Andrew Rogers, Richard Rosati, Michael McCarthy, Keith Colombo, Antonino Trupiano, John Walpole, Frank Zielinski, and Ricky Good.
Christopher A.T. on behalf of the City of Grosse Pointe Woods. And rather than repeat them all, just the Woods defendants will just call it for our shorthand.
Audrey Forbush on behalf of Timothy Matouk.
Mr. Matouk, raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
The witness is sworn.
Good morning, Mr. Matouk. How are you today?
Good.
Have you ever had your deposition taken before?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
3 times, 4 times.
Okay. I'd like to go over just a few parameters. One thing that's very important is for you to wait for me to finish asking my questions and for me to wait to finish answering your questions so that we get a clean record.
Okay.
Nods of the head don't work. You have to use verbal responses. So please make sure you use verbal responses. This is not an endurance test. Anytime you think you need a break, let us know. We'll accommodate your needs. And if I ask you a question you don't understand, please let me know. If you don't tell me that you don't understand, I'll assume that you do.
Okay.
All right. Can you please state your address for the record?
Want my Michigan or my Florida address?
Both.
63 Michaud Court, Grosse Pointe Shores, Michigan. 9165 Collins Avenue, Surfside, Florida. Apartment 212.
Okay. And you also currently operate a store, Woods Wholesale Liquor, correct?
Woods Wholesale Wine.
Woods Wholesale Wine, okay. And where is that business located?
Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan.
And what's the address?
20787 Mac, Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan.
And could you describe the business for the record?
Retailer, wine, liquor, beer, cigars. I'm also an international wine trader.
And what does international wine trader mean?
Sell wine all over the world to collectors.
Okay. Liquor stores are regulated, fairly tightly regulated in the state of Michigan, correct?
It depends what you mean by that. On the price of liquor, yes. On the price of wine, it's kind of wide open.
But in terms of, there are a lot of regulations associated with who you can sell to, when you can sell to, et cetera, and things like that, correct?
Yes, you have to be 21 to purchase alcohol.
Okay. Are you the sole owner of Woods Wholesale Wine?
No.
And who are the other owners?
My sister, Rosemary.
And who operates the store on a day-to-day basis?
Both of us.
Are you there every day, essentially, that you're in Michigan?
Yes.
Is she there every day that she's in Michigan?
Yes.
As part of you operating the store, you're aware of the regulations, of course, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and do you operate your store in accordance with the regulations of the Michigan Liquor Control Board?
Absolutely, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have a license.
Now, what kind of license does your store have?
SDD, SDM.
And what do those mean?
Right to purchase and sell beer and wine. Right to purchase liquor to sell over the counter.
Ms. Matouk, I noticed that you're doing stuff with your phone. What is it that you're doing?
Just checking my emails. My orders coming through.
I see. Now, are you aware of this lawsuit, correct?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. And you understand that this lawsuit is generally involving the death of your sister, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask if you know some of the defendants in this case.
Okay.
Do you know Daniel Jensen, the chief?
Yes.
How well do you know him?
Just as a customer, not socially.
So do you consider yourself to be friends with him?
Yeah, we're friendly. I mean, I see him at, I will see him in the store if he's purchasing wine, or I may see him out in Grosse Pointe in the area, or at some type of charity function.
Would you consider yourself to be buddies?
Like I said, I see him, we don't socialize.
But would you consider yourselves
We're
to be
friendly,
buddies?
yes.
I'm asking the word buddies specifically. Do you
Buddies,
consider-
no, my buddies I go out to dinner with and go to their homes. No, I don't do that with Dan.
Okay. Holly Kremanchik,
Don't know who she is.
Jack Patterson,
Don't know.
Andrew Rogers.
I know Andy, yes.
Okay, how do you know Andy?
I believe he's a officer with the city of Grosse Pointe Farms.
By the way, you said that Chief Jensen, he's a customer of yours, correct?
Correct.
How often is he in your shop?
Don't know. I'm not always, if I'm upstairs on the second floor, I don't know when he comes and goes, so.
As far as you know, how often is he in your shop? Is he there every week?
Can't say.
Is he there at least once a month?
Could be.
Do you ever talk with him on the phone?
No.
Do you ever
Oh,
sit-
no, I'm sorry, I have, yes.
Is that just an exception, or do you talk to him on a regular basis?
No, let's see, was his son or daughter was getting married over the summer, and supplied some of the beverages for, they were taking up to somewhere up north. So obviously we discussed the alcohol that they needed for the event.
Did some of that alcohol include wine?
No.
It was all spirits?
Spirits, yes.
Do you have his cell phone number?
Yes.
And what is his cell phone number for?
Object to the relevancy and the disclosure of that cell phone number for the reason the court has already ruled that cell phone logs and numbers of the various defendants in this case is irrelevant.
You may answer.
Am I giving the number or I'm not?
Yes, you give him the number.
I'd like to join the objection, also place an objection to the way this is going here with this. This is certainly an end run around the court's order. And, well, we'll just leave it at that. We'll see what happens if additional discovery is conducted now a month and a half after discovery is closed.
Okay. You can answer.
Okay, you want the number?
Yes.
Area code 313-303-6707.
Okay. Andy Rogers, how do you know Andy Rogers?
Just know he's an officer with Grosse Pointe Farms.
Does he shop in your store?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Do you have his cell phone number?
No, I don't.
Richard Rosati,
Yes,
and how do you know him?
customer.
Okay. Do you have his cell phone number?
I believe I do.
Same objection to the disclosure of Richard Rosati's cellular phone in so much as the court has ordered cellular phone information from the defendants in this matter is totally irrelevant, and likewise discovery has been closed.
I'll give you a continuing objection on all this. You don't have to do it every time. Fair enough? Save some time.
No.
Well, perhaps it would, at the last hearing, there was a suggestion of a protective order, perhaps, with regard to these numbers.
That you want them confidential, you mean?
Yeah, that they're not,
I would,
published in, excuse me, published in any court documents, you know.
all
that
right,
type
so
of thing.
how about, we'll agree that, James, will you, how can you handle that in the transcript? We'll agree that the names can be redacted out of the transcript. Can we just agree to that any of these phone numbers? Yeah, any of the phone numbers in the transcript will be redacted, but only kept
And
amongst
then also,
counsel.
we'll agree that we'll put together a protective order that covers the
I don't-
dissemination of that.
I mean, I don't think you need to. We'll agree. I mean, we're orally agreeing we're not going to disseminate these numbers except for the express purpose. It could come up at some further point in time. We'll discuss it at that time. But until we have a specific need to use the numbers, we will agree we will not disclose the numbers, and we will not disclose them before making counsel aware that we're going to disclose the numbers, and we can talk about it then. Fair enough? Because even a protective order, we could, seek to, disclose outside of the protective order anyway. So all I'm saying is we're going to agree not to do
Let
it.
me just express one of my significant concerns in this matter, insomuch as these numbers have been earnestly attempted to be procured by plaintiffs in this matter, to the point that we actually needed court intervention. My concern is that these numbers may be utilized with respect to comparison of other ledgers that are involved or that plaintiffs may have access to. And then again, we'll be served with a notice of a deposition of some new unknown person, as we have with respect to Mr., how do you pronounce his name? Milam. And that's where I see all of this going, and the court has said, no, it's totally irrelevant.
So George, look, time is very short here. We
I
understand your
understand
point.
that. You're
That's
going to
fine.
do
We
what you're
will
going to
agree-
do,
but
and
we
I
will
can't
just
call
agree.
the court right now and wake her up and say, have a cup of joe, Judge. We need to have a ruling right
Okay,
now.
then we can let it go. We will just agree for the purposes of right now, the phone numbers will be redacted from the transcript.
I'm
okay.
agreeable with that right now.
Sure. Mr. Rosati's number?
Sorry, 1 second. Area code 313-318-9556.
Okay. And do you know Mr. Rosati in any other capacity other than he's a customer?
Just as a customer.
Okay, Michael McCarthy,
Yes, I know Mike McCarthy.
is he a customer too?
Yeah, but I haven't seen him in a couple of years.
Do you have his phone number?
I believe I do.
Same objection.
No, I don't.
Okay. Keith Colombo,
No.
Antonio Trupiano,
No.
Jeffrey McQueen.
Met Jeff once.
Okay. Is he a customer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have his cell phone
I
number?
do not.
So is he any relationship other than him being a customer?
That's it.
Okay. Wesley Kipke,
No.
John Walco.
Yes.
How do you know John Walco?
Customer.
Okay. Do you have his phone number?
Same objection.
Phone number 586-335-8900.
335-8900.
And now, these are, I'm assuming, okay, I have these numbers on my phone, but I don't know if they're up to date, especially this one.
Okay.
This is not somebody I would, call.
Okay. Frank Zielinski,
No.
Ricky Good,
I know Ricky Good. He sold wine to me about 30 years ago. I haven't seen him since,
okay.
I don't think. I know his name, and before he was in law enforcement, he did sell wine for a short time.
Okay. Andrew Przakowski,
Yes.
okay. How do you know him?
Police officer was in law enforcement in Grosse Pointe Woods for many years. eventually became the police chief, is no longer there. I believe he's in Huntington Woods currently.
And he was a customer too?
Yes.
Do you have his phone number?
Just for the record, Pezahowski already disclosed his phone number. His only phone number was
Okay.
city issued.
I don't have Andy's phone number.
I'm sorry, you say you don't have his number?
No.
Okay. John Kasanke,
No.
John Ross.
John Ross, yes.
Is he a customer?
Yes.
Do you have his cell phone number?
I think so. No.
Okay. Keith Wasak,
No.
Anthony Chalut.
Yes.
Is he a customer?
I think he's purchased something over the years. He's been with the department a long time.
Okay.
More so, he's in the detective bureau at this time, so being that I'm in business, you know, if there's a theft or something, we have some kind of contact.
Do you have his cell phone number?
I don't think so. No, I would call the department to talk to him. Let me check though, maybe. No.
Tim Matouk?
Yes.
What's your relationship with Tim
My
Matouk?
cousin.
Assume you have his phone number?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how did you become informed that Joann went missing?
I was lying in bed early in the morning, and my children informed me that she was missing.
Okay. And saying early in the morning, that would have been the morning of the 13th, is that correct?
Yes. Well, yeah, depending on the date, yeah. 13th of
I'm sorry, January.
Yeah, yes.
2010, okay. And what do you recall being told?
Aunt Joann's missing.
Okay. Is that something that she had done before?
No.
Did this cause you concern?
Yes.
What did you do in response to the news of the disappearance of Joann?
I don't recall. It's like 6 or 7 years ago.
Did you reach out to the police at all?
No.
Did the police reach out to you?
No, not that day.
Did they reach out to you at any other day?
Yes.
And who reached out to you?
Andy Pasahowski.
Okay. And when was this?
It might have been a week or two after she had disappeared. A couple weeks. Came in just to inform me, you know, what information they had, what they were doing.
And what did he inform you of? What did he tell you?
Said, well, I'm going back 7 years, so I'll try to give you the best information I have. I think he informed me that Grosse Pointe Farms had informed him that they had found her car at the church, and there was one set of footprints. And, you know, and as far as law enforcement, it was probably a suicide,
Okay.
their opinion.
What did you think about the likelihood that she had committed suicide at that time?
I've gone back and forth. So, been times when I thought maybe she could have, and then there's times when I think that she didn't. So,
Well, you say maybe she could have. How likely did you think it was that she had committed suicide?
at first, not.
And where do you stand today on the question of whether...
I flip-flop.
What is it? Tell me what you think points towards her having committed suicide?
I guess anybody who is, she had gone through a divorce. She had left her home. And then the information I was given that I saw maybe in the paper or on the news or through the, what information Andy had given me that, there's one set of tracks going down the water, so.
A lot of people go through divorces, right? Mm-hmm. Yes? You got it.
Yes,
Most people don't commit suicide, right?
correct.
So the fact that she went through a divorce, that in itself doesn't mean anything, right?
No,
Objection,
but at the same time, I don't know her.
Joann.
I don't know her. I hadn't had much contact with her, so I don't know her mental state.
Okay. And the footprints. Were you aware that the footprints started 100 feet from where the car was?
No.
Do you think it's reasonable to see a car and see footprints 100 feet away from the car and conclude those footprints must have come from the person inside the car?
Before you begin, objection, form, foundation, outside the scope of this witness is not an expert in any of these types of matters.
That's fine.
Join.
It's kind of where I was going. I don't know. I'm not law enforcement, so.
I understand that you're not, but you said that the fact that there were one set of footprints leading away from the car was something you thought was supportive of her having committed suicide. You did say that before, right?
That's what Mr. Pasahowski informed me of, that it could have been their finding.
But I asked you what you thought was suggestive that
I took it into
you-
consideration, but it doesn't mean I have to decide either way.
I understand that you don't. But as a person sitting here, if you knew that the footprint started 100 feet away from the car, how much weight would you put upon that information when you yourself were trying to think about whether she committed suicide or not?
If I would, I would say could have happened, yes.
I understand it could have happened. So you think it's reasonable that you have a car and there's nothing for 100 feet, and then there's some footprints to conclude?
Well, if you're, if the snow starts 100 feet away from the car, where you have a paved area, whether it be a driveway or whatever, yeah, it's possible.
Sure, it's possible. It's also a street. So you think that, how probable do you think it is?
What's a street? I don't know what
Lake
you're
Shore
talking.
Drive.
Okay, I'm going to place another objection. Now you're arguing with the witness.
That's fine.
You've asked it 4 different times. He's answered it the same way 4 different ways.
That's great. I can have a discussion with him. It's form or foundation?
I don't know.
Excuse me?
The objection is form or
Form,
foundation?
foundation, argumentative, irrelevant, badgering the witness now. It's harassing
Okay, it's
at this
form or-
point.
It's form or foundation?
No, you don't get to instruct me on
Yes,
how I
I
can
do. I
object.
can
No,
tell you. Yes,
you
you
can
do.
tell me all you want. It doesn't mean I have to listen to you, Keith.
No, I'm telling you what the
Until you're
federal
wearing a
rules are.
robe, I don't have to listen to
I'm
what
telling you
your
what the federal
instructions. I'm tired
rules
of
are,
this.
and if you make speech...
I know the federal rules,
Well,
Keith.
then follow
And
them.
the federal rules also say you can't badger a witness.
I'm not badgering
and you
him.
can't continue to ask the same one and waste all of our time.
That's fine. Pasahowski, I'm not quite sure how to play his name, Chief Pasahowski. How often is he in your store?
Recently?
Around the time of the disappearance. How
Not-
often was he in
not-
the store?
He came in just to inform me of
So he would, I thought you said he was a customer.
maybe once every 2 or 3 years. Not much of a drinker, I don't believe.
Now, aside from Joann, you have other siblings, correct?
Yes.
Who are they?
Rosemary,
Okay.
Kathy,
Uh-huh.
and John.
And John. Now, you said Tim is a cousin. How is Tim related to you?
Her father were brothers.
I'm going to hand you what I've marked as exhibit number 1. It's the affidavit of Kathy Matouk. I have 4 here. Oh, I do have another one. There's a couple of things I only have 4 of, so you may need to share. We'll print out another one, but we'll get there when we get there. Mr. Matouk, have you seen this document before?
I have.
And do you, when was the first time you saw this document?
Don't recall.
Was in 2000. Well, this is signed in October 2014, so obviously it was after that, right?
Most of that.
Okay. Now, is there any part of this declaration that you disagree with? Affidavit, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And what part of it do you disagree with?
Well, first off, when I was informed that this affidavit was out there, I spoke to my sister Rosemary about it. So Kathy had come in the store and we said, "What is this affidavit you signed? You know, with all this information that's not correct." And she said, "I never signed an affidavit." I said, "There's one out there." She says, "I never signed an affidavit." So.
Okay, so you're saying that...
Then she calls back the next day, "Oh, you know, I must have signed something. I don't know where it came from."
I see. Okay, so what parts of this affidavit are not correct?
Number 4, disputed over the inheritances. That's incorrect. There was no dispute between. There was only 3 of us left in it.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. You say that, so there's only 3 in it, you, your sister Rosemary, and Kathy, and Joann wasn't part of the will?
Oh, yeah, at the time, but not the last 20 years.
I'm sorry?
That was settled years ago.
So I'm confused. So explain to me what's not correct in item 4. Let's take it one sentence at a time. First sentence. After my parents passed away approximately 20 years ago, that's true, right?
Correct.
Okay, my siblings and I disputed how each of our inheritance would be allocated. That's true, isn't it?
No. Well, when you say my siblings,
And I, collectively, there was a dispute, there was a lawsuit filed over the...
well, let me finish. I don't know if you're talking about currently when this was done, or you want to go back 20 years. Yes, there was a dispute between Joann and John was bought out of this a long time ago, and then convinced Joann to go against us.
Nevertheless, there was a dispute over how the assets
Yes.
were allocated. Okay.
Yes.
My brother, William Bill Matouk, and sister Rosemary Matouk Hedge,
That is correct.
responsible for distributing... I just want to read through it. You got to let me finish. Sorry.
Sorry.
We're responsible for distributing assets according to my parents' will. That's true, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they did not do so appropriately. That's true, right?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay. So you disagree with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Since that time, there has been animosity and separation with the siblings of my family. That's true, right?
Yes.
Okay. Rosemary and Bill had been very much estranged from Joann ever since the time of the inheritances being distributed. That's true.
That's not correct.
So you guys had a...
I was invited to her birthday party here. What was her 50th birthday party? So obviously, if we're estranged, I wouldn't have been invited to the birthday party. So.
Was there a once the dispute started, was there a difference in your relationship with Joann?
No, we actually went to Florida together afterwards.
I'm not asking whether you, on isolated incidences, as opposed to before the will dispute, was there a difference in the nature of your relationship with Joann?
Kind of on and off.
Were you closer with Joann before the dispute over the will than you were after?
Again, once everything was settled, we went back to Florida. We're kind of, together. I'd say we were back to normal. And then through her relationship with Joann Matouk, it probably went south from there.
Okay. And Joann rarely ever spoke to either of them. Is that true? You disagree with that?
Either of who?
Either you or your sister, Rosemary.
Correct.
That is true, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I, on the other hand, have always maintained a relationship with them both. Is that true?
Who's I?
I is Kathy.
And when you say both, who are you referring to?
It's a little unclear here, but did she maintain a relationship with you and your sister
Yes.
Rosemary? Did she
Yes.
also maintain a relationship, to the best of your knowledge, with Joann?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so continue on. Please tell me what else is not accurate.
Knows that Tim and Bill, some type of friendship relationship. He's my blood, so that's kind of odd. Over the last 10 years, increasingly closer. Nah, we're the same. We're not close. We hadn't been closer. Have spending time together rarely. Tim visit with Bill in the family business. Absolutely. If he needs something, he comes to see me. And Tim's always been welcome to my house at the holidays. And I would say it's probably the only time of the year he'd come to my house at the time was Christmas.
Okay. Tell me what else. So you generally
Let's see,
just
Tim has been a jealous, manipulative person. I don't believe that in any way. He's never done anything for me to believe that.
okay,
And I know he maintains a relationship with his sister.
but he doesn't maintain. Does he maintain a relationship with his brother?
Not anymore.
Okay. Okay, keep going.
To express concern, Tim was plotting something against her. That's not correct.
So you're saying she did not say that to you?
No, she told me, keep an eye on him. You shouldn't trust him. I said, what's there to trust? It's my cousin. It's my friend. I mean, that's.
Okay, so you would agree that she did come to express concerns about Tim to you, right?
Whether I should trust him or not. And I told her, there's no reason for me not to trust him. I said, we have nothing but, we have a relationship. He comes in, we're family, we talk, and that's about it.
Okay.
We don't, I don't really socialize with Tim very often.
Okay, did she say to you that if anything happened to her, that
No.
people should look to Tim?
No.
Now, okay, number 9, do you disagree with what you wrote there?
Two different scenarios which do not implicate Tim, correct. I'll agree with Tim.
Let's take it one sentence. There's too many sentences here. The first sentence, do you agree with the first sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. Second sentence.
Like I told you earlier, I flip-flop back and forth.
I'm just asking you, just read this. I'm just asking you to
Second
read the
sentence, at first Bill agreed with Tim's scenario that Joann committed suicide.
Is that true?
I don't object to the formal question.
I don't remember, you're going back 7 years.
Hold on.
Like I told you,
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let me, she's right, it's not a proper question. Do you dispute what was written here? At first, Bill agreed with Tim's scenario that Joann committed suicide.
Again, Tim's scenario. It might have been, you know, law enforcement in general. I mean, I don't recall. I mean, you're going back.
So you don't
7
so
years.
you don't dispute that that is true, if you don't recall.
Object to foundation.
Join as well.
Don't agree with Tim's
Join
scenario.
one as well. I don't understand your
Join
objection. She
in the
wrote, no.
foundation
I'm
of him
asking.
commenting.
She's
Well,
telling me
hold on,
what,
wait, hold-
she's
hold-
telling me what I said. I don't know how anybody could even remember that far back. And like I said, I told you earlier, if somebody came to me and said that she did, you know, at some point I might have said, yeah, maybe she did. And then I flip-flop and said, nah, maybe she didn't. I'm just never going to know, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, but it does matter to me if you disagree.
I told you at some point I thought she did.
Okay, so you don't disagree with that.
And I'm not saying, it says Tim's scenario. That's my scenario, not his.
Okay, that's fine. The next part of the sentence, do you disagree with that?
What part of the sentence?
Well, start with, but then in January 2014, when a well-known local private investigator by the name of Scott Lewis aired a news conference stating that the evidence pointed to a police cover-up of the abduction and murder of my sister, Bill then changed his story and agreed with Tim's new theory.
I've gone back and forth on that several times, that either she committed suicide or that somebody, Joann Matouk, owed money to, due to the fact that her plates were in his name on her vehicle, might have had something to do with it, because the number of people he screwed out of money is so long, we'll never know how long it is, so.
Okay. And the last sentence, you don't have any way to dispute that because that Kathy was aware of the phone conversation, correct?
I don't know, I wasn't listening to the conversation. I
Exactly,
don't
so
know.
you can't dispute that. So there's nothing in section 9 that you
No.
dispute. Okay. 10.
Objection, mischaracterization of the
Okay.
witness's testimony.
I'll ask it again. Is there anything in paragraph number 9
Let
that you
me read it
disagree
again real
with?
quick
That's
and I'll
fine.
go over with you. I would agree with everything but the last sentence, because I don't know.
So you don't dispute it, you don't have any basis for it. Fine. Okay,
Correct.
number 10.
I don't know that he took a polygraph. And it says neither Tim or Bill have taken, no, we didn't take a polygraph because I was never asked to, so.
Okay.
And I don't know that he took one, I don't know the result of it, so.
But you don't have any basis to say that that's not true. You just simply don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Number 11. Anything in there that you claim is not true?
She was informed by dozens of friends and relatives that she was concerned that Tim Matouk, I don't know if
Lack
that
of
happened.
foundation.
I don't know if that, I don't know if it happened or it didn't happen. Did people call Kathy and say that they were concerned that Tim Matouk was going to harm her? I don't know. How would I know?
I'm only
Okay,
asking.
so
If
the
you,
answer
let me
is-
ask the question very precisely. When I ask you about these prayers, if there's something that you claim that you know is not true, let me know. If you have some reason for saying it's not true. So I think from what I understand, number 11, you don't have any knowledge to say that any of that is true or not true.
Here, hold on, let me read this again. I would like to see who these dozens of people are, dozens of friends and relatives. I don't think there's that many people would call her and told her that.
I'm asking a very precise question.
I would probably say that's incorrect. I would not agree with that.
And your
I was
basis,
informed by dozens of friends and relatives who she came that Tim Matouk was going to harm her.
So
No
you're-
way. I'd love to see these people.
so you're speculating that it didn't happen. You don't have any actual knowledge that it
Correct.
didn't happen.
And
Okay.
you knew that.
That's all I want
You
to
know,
know.
there might have been, I'm sure there might have been one or two or three, but dozens? Nah. We don't even have that many relatives.
Okay. Number 12. Is there anything in there that you have actual knowledge is not true?
She has suspicions, that's her opinion.
Lack of foundation.
Tim wiretap, impossible. I don't think it's possible.
Do you have actual knowledge that it didn't
No,
happen?
but
That's all I'm
know.
asking. I'm trying to be very precise. If you have actual knowledge to say that something isn't true, that's what I'm asking for.
my
Otherwise-
opinion, he didn't wiretap anybody's phone.
Okay.
I don't think he would know how to wiretap a phone.
So other than your opinion that he couldn't have wiretapped the phone, you don't have any actual knowledge that anything in number 12 is.
No, I
Judge
don't
should
think
ask
anybody
the
has any
answer.
knowledge whether he wiretapped the phone.
Okay? Number 13, is there anything in there that you have actual knowledge is not true?
I don't know whether Grosse Pointe Farms or Grosse Pointe Woods contacted Kathy. Says they did. She says they didn't contact her. Okay, very possible.
Okay, number 14. Well, and let's break it down. Was Joann depressed at the time of her disappearance?
I'm not one to address that or decide whether she's depressed or not. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so.
I'm not asking a clinical diagnosis of depression. You met with her. Did she appear to be depressed?
She came up into my office. I hadn't spoke to her in maybe a year and a half or 2 years. She had a stone cold look on her face and came to me and said, in case anything happens to me, I want to, make amends. And I don't want to go on like this. She gave me a hug and she left the store.
Okay. Did she appear to be depressed?
She had a cold look on her face, but it's not my opinion to decide whether she's depressed or not.
Have you ever met, in your life, have you ever seen somebody that you thought is depressed?
I can't diagnose somebody as to whether they're depressed in 2 minutes.
Mr.
You know.
Mr. Matouk, I'm not asking you for a clinical diagnosis of depression. I'm asking you in the...
I don't know.
Hold on, let me finish asking.
Was she depressed? I don't
Mr.
know.
Matouk, you got to let me finish asking my
ahead.
questions. In your life, you understand, strike that. You understand people use the phrase, this person's depressed, who are not doctors based upon their just general observations, right?
Repeat the question.
Okay. Have you ever heard somebody say who's not a doctor, that person seems to be depressed?
I guess so.
Okay.
Throughout my life.
Have you ever used that phrase, hey, that person looks like they're depressed? They lost a, had a bad beat at poker last night, they're upset about
No,
it.
maybe lost somebody, you know. I've had customers who lost children to cancer and so forth. Yeah, they were kind of down and out.
Okay, you're not a medical doctor, right?
Correct.
But you could tell based upon your
Yes.
common sense observation.
Yes.
Okay, did your sister fit that category when she came to see you?
Can we put a time frame on when this was that you saw?
When she came to see, this was in
When?
okay, she came to see you twice shortly before her,
Correct. She came to see me about 10 days before she passed away, and I saw her 2 or 3 days before that.
okay. So in that time period, you just said you
She
kind
didn't
of,
seem depressed the second time I saw her.
okay,
I had contacted her on a Saturday evening, and she didn't answer her phone. I was going to ask her to meet me next door at the restaurant for a drink, and she didn't answer. So she had come on Sunday morning. Michelle had dropped her off in front of the store, and she came in. She said, "Hey, you called me, this and that." No, she didn't seem depressed at all.
okay, that's fine. Did she have any mental illness, to the best of your knowledge?
Was she unstable? Yeah. She listened to my brother Joann Matouk on ways to, just maybe investing money or whatever, and it's a total bust out. So I questioned her judgment as to listening to everything he had to say.
Okay, bad judgment.
Poor judgment.
That's not mental illness, is it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not giving you the opinion I know what is mental illness and what isn't. It's just I'm not a doctor, so it's not for me to decide.
I understand that, but to the best of your knowledge, she never had any mental illness, correct?
Not in front of me, not that I can see.
Okay. Was she suicidal at the time she came to see you?
I wanted to judge whether somebody's suicidal.
Okay, so,
Not that I could see.
okay.
She was, the last time I saw her, she was in very good spirits.
Okay, thank you. Does it, given what you just said, she didn't particularly appear to be depressed. You didn't know of her having any mental illness. She didn't seem suicidal.
Again, I hadn't seen her, I've seen her very little over the last period, you know, for the last years of her life. I saw her very little. So
Understood.
it wasn't for me to judge whether she's, you know, when I saw her 2 minutes one day and a minute the next day.
Would it have surprised you, though, that she committed suicide?
At the time, yeah.
Okay, thank you. What do you think happened to Joann?
Objection, Foreign Foundation,
Don't know.
relevancy.
And asked and
Joann.
answered.
Excuse me? What he thinks happened to his sister? That's not relevant?
Hey, I'm not arguing with you.
I'm just
You know,
asking where you, I'm
just
asking you
making
the,
my objections.
I'm asking you the
Made a
basis
valid
of your...
objection, we don't need your editorial comments. So
I'm
if you have a
concerned-
question, let's ask it and move on.
I'm sorry, I am certainly within my rights to ask you the nature of your objection.
Relevancy.
And I ask you, how is it not relevant?
It's not relevant, period.
Why?
We'll take it up with the judge.
I'm
at the
entitled to
time of
ask you the
trial.
nature of your objection.
You're not entitled to ask
Okay.
me. Every time I say Foreman Foundation, you don't say, hey, what's the basis of the lack of foundation?
Sometimes-
you know, Keith, this
some-
is getting cuckoo. Maybe it's because it's so early and everybody
No,
got
George,
up early.
sometime- no,
I don't
just-
know what the deal is, but can you
Ask the
just
question.
move on?
No, so it's your position, I just want to understand defense counsel's position that you make an objection and I do not have the right to inquire of you to explain your objection? It's a yes/no question.
Which
It's a yes/no question. Do
what
I or no?
particular rule are you referring
You're not
to?
deposing him. You don't get to tell
I'm
him how to
asking,
answer your
I just want to
questions.
be clear that I've asked you to explain your objection to me, so maybe I can change my question, and you're refusing. That's fine. Let's move on.
Mr. Altman,
No,
I
that's
take
rude.
issue, given the parameters of the time constraints on this, with your continual efforts to badger defense counsel to attempt to inquire things of them when we're not under oath, and I'm going to object if I don't have sufficient time to carry out my examination of this witness, due in part to the fact that you burn off an awful lot of time here.
I've got
with
4 hours.
nothing.
I've got 4 hours, so I'll use my 4 hours. as I
I'm
see
sorry,
fit.
why do you have 4 hours? Because you declared you have 4 hours?
This is my deposition. I said that
Okay.
nobody objected to the fact that I said I would take 4 hours. Defense could have the rest of the time, and nobody said boo.
I think we did. I think we objected.
Yeah,
No, nobody objected.
I'm sure George did.
doesn't
Anyway,
matter. Let's move on
just
now,
move
and
on.
we'll deal with that then.
What do you think happened to your sister?
Don't know.
And did I hear you say that the plates on the car were registered to John?
No.
Let's be
Let me-
clear.
let me-
Let's be clear.
I
The
wanna-
car
let me-
that
Hold on, let me get this straight. His car had Joann's name on the plate. That's what it was. And there might have been more than one car. So
Okay.
if anybody was following him, the plates went back to Joann. And possibly her address, I'm not sure. But her name was definitely, the plates on cars he was driving were definitely registered to Joann. And that comes from, her daughter told me.
Okay. When law enforcement came to you to talk to you about your sister's disappearance, did they ever ask you anything about her mental state?
Form.
I don't recall.
Did they ever ask you if she was suicidal?
I don't recall.
Did they ever ask you if she was depressed?
I don't recall.
Did they ask you any questions at all?
It's been 7 years. I don't know. I don't recall any of that. What they asked me.
Do you recall ever giving testimony saying they didn't ask you anything?
All I remember is Chief Pasahowski came in and he said, look, he said, I just wanted you to know this is the situation, this is what happened, this is what we're trying to find out. And I've known you a long time, this is your sister, and I just wanted you to know we're working on it, but, you know, these are the facts, this is what we have right now, and I just wanted to come out myself and let you know.
But do you recall giving testimony where you definitively said you weren't asked any questions about her? Under oath, that you gave
It's been a
testimony.
while, I don't recall.
Do you recall giving testimony approximately a year ago where you stated that they didn't ask you any questions.
Testimony from who?
You recall being deposed in the matter of Joann Matouk via the Robert Barrack Trust on August 14, 2015?
Yeah, but that was almost, it was a while ago, so.
That's about 14 months ago.
Okay, so what are you asking?
Do you recall testifying during that deposition that you were not asked any questions? You didn't say you didn't know if you were asked questions. You
I don't
said
think I was asked any question.
by the police, you mean, at the time?
I don't recall.
Okay. Let's,
I have a hard
please.
time remembering things from a month ago. You're asking me a year and a half ago?
Okay. Would it surprise you if you gave testimony that said the police never asked you any questions
They
about
may
your
have.
sister?
They may, it's possible, but I don't remember.
It's possible you gave that testimony, or it's possible that they didn't ask you?
I don't remember.
All right, let me...
You're asking me to remember my testimony from a year. I don't, you know, when, you know, things are a little sooner, they're more clear to you. The
Okay.
farther away you go,
Fair enough. When you gave your testimony a year and a half ago, about 16 months ago, were you truthful when you gave that testimony?
absolutely.
Okay, so if it says in your testimony here that you didn't know if they asked you questions, you said they did not ask you
Yeah,
questions.
you can use that. Sure.
So we can rely upon this. We
Yes.
should. Okay, fair enough. So I want to understand the two visits that your sister made to you. Said the second one is the one where she mentions Tim Matouk to you, correct? Mm-hmm. And the first one is where she just popped in because she would call the night before, and she didn't take the call, but she came to see you the next day?
Repeat the question.
Okay. There were the two visits. You said
Yes.
there was one about 10 days before she disappeared and one
Correct.
about 3 days before
Yes.
that. The first one, that was the one where you had called her, hey, come for
No,
a
the
drink?
first one she came out of nowhere.
The first one, she came out of nowhere. Okay, so let's talk about that session. She just showed up at the store?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and what did she say to you?
I'll answer this question again since I've already done it once. I just wanted to make things right. We haven't talked to you in a long time. I feel bad about everything. That's about it. You know, I want to make amends. She gave me a hug and she left.
Okay. And she said nothing about any concerns about Tim or anybody
No,
else?
nothing.
Okay. And so then the second one is where you called her and she didn't, she came in the next morning?
Correct. Correct. I called her. It would have been I believe it was a Saturday evening, and she came.
Okay, and so all she did when she came in is said, you shouldn't trust Tim?
No, that's not. She said, "Hey, you called me. What's up?" I said, "I just called you to meet me for a drink next door." And I guess we had some small talk, and she said, "You know, you talked to cousin Tim, and you shouldn't trust him." I said, "Why?" I said, "He's a good guy. Why shouldn't I trust him? I got no reason not to." I mean, I kept explaining to her, like, we come in and we visit. What's the trust factor? We're not in business together or anything like that. I said, he's just my family. So I told her, I said, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing not to trust him about.
And how long did that meeting last about?
Probably a minute or two.
So given that the meeting was only about a minute or two, did you believe that the purpose of her coming to see you was mostly to warn you about Tim?
No, not at all.
So how did Tim come up?
Don't recall.
So she came in to have, because she called the night before.
She also, I think in the conversation,
You
she was...
gotta let me finish asking
Okay.
the question. She came into you because you called the night before.
Right.
The total meeting lasted about a minute or two. She did some small talk, and then she brought up about Tim. Is that?
Yeah, and possibly Rosemary's daughter, Heather.
Oh, okay.
She had come to me in the past and also told me not to keep an eye on Rosemary's daughter.
The morning, who is Stephen Matouk?
That would be Tim's brother.
The day after, the morning after Joann's disappearance, did you call Stephen to get... Let me finish asking. Did you call Stephen and ask him for Tim's phone number?
I have Tim's phone number. Why would I call Steve and ask him for it?
How often do you talk to Tim on the telephone?
All the time.
Multiple times per day?
Sometimes I'll talk to him 2 or 3 times a day, and then sometimes I won't talk to him for a week.
Okay. Once you found Joann had disappeared, did you do anything to try to assist in locating her?
Such as?
Did you do anything?
No.
Why not?
What am I going to do?
Banners were put up, flyers were put up, correct?
Yes, I believe they were.
Did you have any flyers in the store?
Don't recall. I believe somebody tried to put one up in the store, but I wasn't there, so I don't know if they put it up or they didn't put it up. But again, my office is on the 2nd floor, so I don't see everybody coming through the door.
Once you were informed that Joann had gone missing, did you talk to anybody in the immediate time frame, talk to anybody in your family about her disappearing?
Yeah, probably everybody.
Do you remember any specific conversation?
No, just we're meeting over at, we'd gone over to her house and there was several people there, but that's about it.
Did you call anybody to discuss her disappearance?
I talked to several relatives, yeah.
Who did you talk to?
I don't recall, there's numerous.
Could you tell me any that you recall?
Probably everybody in my family called me at one point.
Okay. You testified in that deposition that many prominent people in the Grosse Pointe area shop in your store, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Did Tim Matouk ever tell you that Joann was unstable?
When? We went back 20 years or?
At any time ever?
I don't recall.
So in the immediate time around her disappearance, did he say anything to you about her mental state?
No.
Did you ask him when the last time he spoke with her
No.
was? Had you ever heard that rumor or otherwise that Joann would lock herself in the closet at work?
I heard something to that effect, but I don't recall who told me.
Do you think that's something that your sister would likely do?
I wouldn't know where to do something like that.
What?
I said I wouldn't know where to do something like that. That's kind of odd.
So you would agree that if somebody said to you, yes, she locked herself in the closet, that would be inconsistent with your personal experiences with her?
Somebody locking themselves in a closet is kind of odd. So.
Okay.
Not that anybody couldn't do it.
Of course, but it would be, you would find that to be surprising based on what you knew about her, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your sister say to you when she came to see you, one of those 2 times, did your sister say to you that she was afraid that Tim would harm her?
No. Never.
Sorry. When it was unsure as to what had happened with Joann, and that there was a possibility that she was kidnapped. Did you ever participate in discussions about trying to raise ransom money?
Yeah, her, I don't know if it was her husband or ex-husband at the time.
And what do you remember of that conversation?
There was talk like, hey, we need money, this and that, and nothing ever materialized, so.
Did you ever offer to help with any financial assistance in terms of raising ransom? You gotta wait for me to finish, I'm sorry, sir.
Good.
Did you ever offer to provide any financial assistance?
I may have, I don't recall, but if I knew there was something out there, I certainly would have. If I knew there was actually, she was being held, but, you know, in the back of my mind, I thought it was another Joann Matouk scam, so I didn't, I would have been, taken a lot for me to give up any money,
How did you know it was a Joann Matouk scam?
because it sounds like something he would do, try to capitalize off her possible, off her death, whether she was alive or whether she wasn't alive.
Now, do you provide, you testified that you provide discounts to law enforcement officers
I
in your
offer
store.
discounts to everybody. That's what we do, we're wine discounters.
What about the spirits? Do you give them discounts on spirits?
No, it's illegal for that, to give discount on spirits.
And I think you said you sell your spirits in accordance with the law, right?
Correct.
I think you testified in your deposition that at one time you bought a house and you asked the Grosse Pointe Farms Police Department to bring a dog in to sweep the house, correct?
Correct.
There was no evidence of any crime at the time you had the house swept, right?
There was no evidence. The dog did go crazy in one spot in the house, and the officer who had taken him in there told me, in his opinion, there was something there at one point, but it's not there now.
And how did it come to be that you were able to ask the police to just bring a dog in?
Let me just object to a form of your question. Lack of specificity as to which police.
It was Grosse Pointe Farms Police Department who brought the dog in, right? Okay, how did it come to be that you were able to get them to bring a dog in?
One of the officers that come in the store, his name is Tim. Grosse Pointe Farms has a canine dog, German Shepherd, and I think I contacted Dan, and I said, Dan, I said, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, now that I have possession of this house, that he put some drugs in there to try to set me up. I said, do you think you could have your dog come and do a sweep? He goes, well, it's going to have to be, you know, something, training for the dog. He said, I can't just do that. So I think Tim did contact me. They brought the dog over and swept the house.
Okay.
When you say Tim, you're talking about the officer.
Officer Tim, yeah, not my cousin Tim.
Thank you.
It's Tim
It was
Harris.
Tim Harris, yeah.
Okay, just to be clear, yes. He basically did a favor for you, right?
Jack,
It was
for
actually
foundation.
training. I don't know if he called it a favor.
Well-
I was looking for some. Grosse Pointe Woods didn't have a dog to sweep the house, so I wouldn't call it a favor. I think maybe, you know, it's something you do in law enforcement.
But he did say, well, we'll have to call it a training exercise so that we can do this for you, right? Because I
Yes.
can't just do that, right?
Right. It had to be, you know, it had to be a training exercise. It's not something. He made it very clear to me.
Now, your liquor store is a retail establishment, correct?
Objection as to the answer.
It's a retail establishment, right?
Yeah, I guess you would call it that.
Why is it called Woods Wholesale Liquor if it's a retail establishment?
Something I decided to call it.
You don't have a license to sell wholesale, correct?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
Well,
I'm not providing you with that information.
I'm sorry. Do you have a license to sell wholesale?
I'm not giving you the answer.
On what basis?
Secrets of my business are for me, and if you're asking me for any financials, you're going to get nothing out of me, due to the fact that Joann Matouk is constantly trying to get me in trouble for something that I've never done. So therefore, if you ask me for anything about my business or my financials, you're going to get nothing out of me.
Okay, you understand that you have been subpoenaed here under federal court or federal court.
Well, you're not the IRS, so I'm not answering the question.
So you're going to refuse to answer whether you have a wholesale license?
Yeah, it's none of your business what kind of license I have.
Do you sell liquor in your store below the state wholesale minimum, the state minimum price? Let me ask the question. Do you sell spirits in your store below the minimum price set by the state of Michigan?
No.
Do you sell liquor online?
I might.
You authorized to do that under the rules of the state of Michigan?
Sure. Yes.
So it's your testimony that your license allows you to sell liquor online?
You're getting into the financials of my business again. I'm not answering any questions.
On what basis?
Secrets of my trade are for me. They're not for you or anybody else. Or they're not going to be given out to my competition. So therefore, if you ask any questions about the financials or operations of my business, you're getting nothing out of me.
Okay.
It's none of your business.
So if you sell liquor publicly online, well, let's do a few things here. I only have 4 copies of these, so we can get another one. I'm going to mark as Exhibit 2. Can you share with Chris for now? I will. Can you get it? Okay. I've marked as Exhibit 2 is a printout from the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. And you see that this is the record of the license for Woods Fine Wine and Spirits.
Correct.
That's your store, correct?
Yes.
And Woods Fine and Spirits is the actual name of the corporation, correct?
Correct.
All right. And it says that you're a specially designated distributor and a specially designated merchant, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what are those licenses?
Yes.
And what do those licenses allow you to sell?
We're going to answer this. Is the second time you've asked the same question.
Well, what is the
Beer and wine.
Which one is beer and wine?
Let's see here. I don't know. But it's either one or the other. One's for beer and wine, and one is to sell liquor.
Do either one of these licenses allow you to sell wholesale?
Depends what your definition of wholesale is.
What's your understanding of the word wholesale?
Wholesale could be a low price, could be anything.
Okay, do either one of these allow you to sell to a restaurant?
Yes.
Which one of these licenses? And
It's one or the other. You're allowed to sell a case a month, whatever.
A case a month to what? Every restaurant, or a case a month total to all the restaurants?
I think the law is they're able to buy a case a month, something to that effect.
Does it allow you to sell to other liquor stores?
Well, I'm going to object to
I'm
this
not.
entire line of questioning.
You know what? You're going in the wrong direction here.
I'm sorry, you've made your relevance.
I'm not
It is
answering the
relevant.
question.
You're refusing to answer on what basis?
I'm not answering anything related to my business or my financials. You're getting nothing out of me. I'm going to make that very clear, and you can continue.
That's-
Because this has nothing to do with this, what you're doing
Oh, it
today.
certainly does.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. I'm going to hand you what I've marked as Exhibit 3.
Thank you.
This is also a printout from Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. And this is an assumed name search, and Woods Wholesale Wine is an assumed name for fine wine and spirits, correct?
It's my DBA.
Okay. We'll get a stapler here, but I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 4.
Thank you.
I'm going to stapler fix up. Is this a printout of a page from the website for your store?
Could be.
Well, it says Woods Wholesale Wine, correct?
Yeah. The only thing is I don't maintain the website, so.
I'm just asking, is there anything that you see on this page that suggests this is not your webpage?
No.
Okay. And you see on the next page, it talks about shipping. And it says that you'll ship to the following states: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, and a whole bunch of other states. Does your license allow you to ship liquor out of state?
I'm not providing any information as to my business.
And what's the nature of your refusal to answer?
I've given you nothing on the financials or the operations of my business that can be given out to my competitors. And I know who's behind this,
So something that's,
and they're getting nothing out of me.
so something that is available on your website, you're not going to answer about to the public?
Nope.
That's proprietary information?
Nope, you're getting nothing.
Okay. Do you sell a liquor called Luxoa vodka in your store?
Yeah, I believe we do.
Okay. I'm going to hand you what's marked as Exhibit 5. Is a page on the liquor control price list. You're aware that that information is available online, right?
No,
You didn't know that you could get that online?
no.
But you do get a copy of the book so that you know what the minimum prices
I
are.
believe my staff does, yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to hand you what I've marked as Exhibit 6. Which is a photograph of a bottle of Luxor wine. Does that appear to be what it shows?
No,
That does not appear to be a bottle, what the...
that's Luxor vodka, not wine.
I'm sorry, vodka. Okay, I stand corrected. Does that appear to be the bottle for Luxor vodka?
Could be.
Okay. Do you see anything there that suggests it's not?
I don't know what this is. I mean,
Does that appear to be a picture of a bottle?
Could be a picture, it could be a bottle, it could be something off a website, I don't know what it is.
Okay. And that's a 1.75 liter, correct?
Don't know.
You can't read the 1.75 liter at the
Where?
bottom?
Where is it?
Right at the bottom there, sir.
Where? Wow, okay.
All right.
Let's see what the boy.
And according to Exhibit 5, the minimum price for this bottle is $24.54. Do you see that?
Don't know.
Well, if you look at Exhibit 5, you'll see that.
I'm going to object to,
I don't know where you're going with this, but this is obviously, I know this scam they're pulling on me, so you're not going to take my business down. Good luck.
okay, before we get, I just want to object to Foreman Foundation.
I've put up with this for years. They try to ruin my business. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
Form and foundation. There's no date or anything to indicate when Exhibit 5, where it came from. Somebody could have created this on their.
That's
Jealousy will get you
I don't
nowhere.
know what Exhibit
I will
6.
re-
the
Form and
witnesses-
foundation.
I will represent to you.
She,
Hold on, sir, please.
who
Please,
is
sir.
involved in this suit here that we're on her
Sir,
estate?
please.
She's asking information on my business?
Sir, please, there's no pending question. I will represent to you that I had the page printed out off the liquor control price list. This is easily verifiable. On the October, I'm just telling you where it came from.
okay.
You asked where it came from.
Yeah, no. I'm just placing
Your
obje-
your objection is
I'm-
fair, and I'm just trying to
I
explain
know,
to you.
but Keith, with all due respect, your testimony about the source of Exhibit 5 or Exhibit 6 is not sufficient. You're not under oath.
That's fine.
You're not a witness. So if the witness can't corroborate or verify where this is, there's no foundation for
That's
it.
fine, so you made your objection.
Join.
Great. Now, I'm going to
As well.
hand you what I'm marking as Exhibit 7.
Maybe when they printed it out, they could at least put
Thing.
the stringer on the bottom of it, like they did for this one.
I'm going to need some more stickers.
See, it's here. Usually there's a date.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 7. Whoops. And do you see that's a bottle of Luxwada vodka, Mr. Matouk?
Could be.
Could be. Do you see anything there that says that it's not?
No.
Okay. And you see that there's a price on it of $20.99.
Could be. I don't know where it's from, though.
Do you see that there's a bottle of $20.99?
I see.
Form foundation.
Yes.
Okay. And do you see a receipt next to it for $20.99?
Yes.
Okay. And you
Are you
would,
calling that a receipt? It's a register tape.
Okay, that's the
No,
kind
it's
of-
not even a register tape. I don't even know what it is.
That's the
You're
kind-
calling it a receipt. I don't know what it is.
okay,
It's a piece of paper
Is that the kind of register that's generated out of your store?
Could be. No, actually.
Or really, what would a register receipt
We
look
get
like?
credit card receipts. 90% of my business is credit cards.
Okay, but if it's not a credit card, what kind of a receipt, if somebody
Could
pays
be.
cash? Could be. Do you see anything there that says that could not have come out of your store?
You know, I'm not a cashier, so you got the wrong person.
Is there anything that you see on this page that says that could not have come out of your store?
Lack
Objection.
of
There's
foundation.
nothing that says that it did come out of my store.
I asked you a different question. Do you see anything here that says
You're
this?
getting into my business again. I'm not answering the question.
Okay, you would agree that $20.99 is less than $24.54, right?
I'm not answering the question.
On what basis?
You're digging into my business again. It has nothing to do with this case. I'm not answering it. It's that simple.
Okay.
You came here to try to, you're trying to ruin my business. It's not going to happen.
Well-
They've tried for years. They've gotten nowhere.
You would agree that if you're selling below the state minimum, that would be illegal.
What I
right?
do in my operation is none of your business, and I'm not answering any more questions pertaining to it.
Well, then you can refuse.
Listen, Joann Matouk and Michelle Romain are not going to wreck my business.
Listen.
They've tried, and they've tried, and they've failed. It's not going to happen.
Well, you would agree that if you're selling below the state minimum, that's illegal, right?
I'm also going to hold
I
on.
will
before-
do whatever I want in my operation. I answer to nobody.
So you don't have to follow the law, Mr. Matouk?
I'm going to object to form and
enforce it.
foundation and.
Oh, so in other words,
I
Mr.
thought,
Matouk,
what are we here for today?
Mr.
Is this,
Matouk, so did you
is this
just-
the Liquor
did
Control
you-
Commission?
Hold on, let me just put an objection on the record. You guys can continue to fight. I'm going to object to this whole line of questioning. This has nothing to do with this case.
We did
I
this
believe-
last time
Wait, let me
with
finish,
Joann
sir.
Matouk.
Sir,
Go ahead.
Let me finish. In addition to the form and foundation, there's no foundation. There's nothing to indicate the size of this bottle, where it came from in Exhibit 7. I mean, this could be a pint for all I know.
it's the same bottle you saw the other picture.
I'm sorry, I'm
Could be
finishing. That's fine.
Photoshopped. We don't even know what that
I
is.
have no idea what it is. I don't know where it came from. There's no testimony to corroborate it. So it's a lack of foundation, and it's bad questions all around.
Okay.
I join in that continual line of questioning, and irrespective of the representations made, the documents clearly do not provide where they came from, what they are, when they were taken. This kind of reminds me of the baby seat issue we had in this matter, where a baby seat was produced by a witness and claimed to be the seat that allegedly was in the back of the car, and upon careful inspection, it was a baby seat that was bought during and shortly before the deposition in calendar year, I believe, 2015.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 8. Would you please look at the exhibit, sir?
Thank you.
Are we sharing? Okay. You can exhibit
I'll have to get another, I apologize, I'll get
Not
another
a
copy
problem.
for you.
No, I
Only
mean,
printed
as
four.
long as it comes with the transcript, I don't think it'll matter.
Mr. Matouk, you would agree that that is something that was shipped from your store to the state of New York?
Don't know.
Well, would you please take a look at it?
Nah, this is, I'm
Does
not
it-
answering any questions pertaining to
Does
my
it say,
my wine business.
who is Ben? At Woods Wholesale, who is Ben?
I'm not going to let you know. I don't want anybody stealing my employees, so
Who is Ben?
I'm not answering your question.
Okay.
Nothing pertaining to my business.
Your address is 20787 Mack Avenue, correct?
My address, what?
The address of the business is 20787, correct?
Which business?
Woods Wholesale Liquor. Woods Wholesale Wine, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. And so that label there says it's from Woods Wholesale 20787 Mack Avenue,
I don't
Grosse
know
Pointe
anybody
West.
could print something like that, so.
So you're saying that this is faked?
I don't know.
Mr.
Could be.
Matouk, do you think it would be particularly difficult to subpoena UPS's records to see if Woods Wholesale
Go
Wine
right
made a
ahead.
shipment?
Go right
on
ahead.
this
I don't know
particular-
what it has to do with this case, but
It's not for you.
Good luck.
It's not for you to know. Good luck. You say good luck a lot. You know, you said good luck
you're
to me.
getting no information
You said
pertaining to
good
my
luck to me
business.
when I tried to have you, when I tried to give you an opportunity to pick this
Well,
date.
you picked, that's because we have a small window to make money in our business, and you deliberately picked this time because you knew I was busy to disrupt my business. You're in on it too.
Oh, really? Did I not call you on or about the 1st of November?
You don't decide
Hold
what
on,
months
sir.
I'm busy and what
Sir,
months I'm not.
I will ask-
November and December are 2 months. You cannot contact me, and I was more than willing to do it after the first of the year. Any time but my busy time, and you knew it was my busy time. And you deliberately asked me to do it because you knew you were trying to disrupt my business and help them.
I see.
And you're gonna go nowhere with this.
Okay. Do you dispute that this is a package that was sent from Woods Wholesale
Not
to the
answering
state
your
of New
questions.
York?
I'm not answering any questions pertaining to my wine operation.
Where's the exhibit?
I'm going to mark as Exhibit 9 another photograph. Does your store own a white van?
Not answering any questions pertaining to my business. So you can keep going with this. We're going nowhere.
Do you know whose house this is a picture of? Do you know whose house this is a picture of?
Yeah, it looks like my aunt's house.
Your aunt's house.
Could be.
And you see that there's that's her garage with a van parked in front of it, right?
Could be.
Do you have any basis to say that's not a van parked in front of her garage?
No, there's a van parked in front of that house.
Well, that's her garage there that the van is backed up to, right?
Don't know. I don't know if that's her house.
Oh, you just said that was your aunt's
I
house.
said it could be. It looks like it.
Really? What's your aunt's address?
Don't know.
You don't know your aunt's address?
No, I don't know my aunt's address.
Okay.
You know your aunt's address?
Talking about.
I'm sorry, Aunt Rose. This is your Aunt Rose's house, right?
I don't. He asked me the address. I don't know the address to her house. I know the house. I don't know her address.
Okay, is there anything in this picture that suggests this is not your Aunt Rose's house?
I don't know.
What, have you been to your Aunt Rose's house ever?
I go every week.
You go every week, so you don't know if that's her house?
I can't tell. There's only a partial part of the house. Not
I
the whole
see.
house.
Is there anything in this house that says that's not your Aunt Rose's house?
Could be.
Like, is there a sign that says this isn't Aunt Rose's house?
No, I'm asking him.
Show me,
I'm
they're showing
asking.
a picture of a door.
Listen, I'm asking you, do you see anything in this picture that is inconsistent with your recollection of your Aunt Rose's house, which you visit every week?
Nah, it could be her house.
I asked you, is there?
Could be.
I asked you, is there anything in here that says, oh no, that can't be her house because she doesn't have a? It doesn't say she doesn't have a detached garage, for example. She does have a detached garage, right?
Objection, compound question.
You're right. Does your aunt have a detached garage at her house?
I don't know. What does this have to do with what we're doing here?
That's fine. Does your
Mr.
aunt?
Matouk, we've made our objections to relevancy.
You know, this
but
we're going right
know,
back. This is they're trying to take my business down. It's not going to happen. Okay?
Okay.
So let's get off this and let's, is this really about her mother's or death?
Absolutely it
Okay,
is.
so we need to get off this and
No,
talk about that.
this is absolutely about it.
Absolutely, it does, has nothing to do with it.
That's fine. Mr. Matouk, you're here to answer questions. With all due respect.
I'm answering nothing pertaining to my business.
And just so
if
you-
that van is part of my business, I'm not answering the question. I made it very clear. The wine and liquor business has nothing to do with my sister's death at all.
So the van is part of your business then, right?
Yeah, we have a delivery van. We have to have one.
And that's your van, right?
I don't know.
Is there anything in that picture of the van that is inconsistent?
Nothing in that picture tells me that is my van.
I didn't ask you that. Please answer my question. Is
No.
there anything in that picture that says that it could not be your van?
That van would be part of my business. You know, we'll keep going over this again. I'm answering nothing pertaining to my wine and liquor business. So we can sit here all day. You're not getting any answers out of
Good,
me.
I'll ask my questions.
Go ahead.
Does your store store anything in your Aunt Rose's house?
Not answering any of your
In the
questions.
garage.
None of your business.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as exhibit number 10. Does your business store anything at your Aunt Rose's house?
Don't
I'm
know.
going to object to Foreman Foundation.
I don't know.
We don't know what this is a picture of. There's no testimony to corroborate
No
what it
date,
is.
no time.
No date, no time.
That's
This
fine.
could be my garage.
Okay,
Well,
Correct.
as well as my brother and sister council have objected, I will join in.
that's
as
fine.
well.
Noted. You can answer the question. Does your business store anything at your Aunt Rose's house?
None of your business. I'm not answering the question. I don't know.
You don't know?
No. Again, you're asking about my business. You're getting nothing. I'm not giving you any answers pertaining to my alcohol business. All they're trying to do is take my information, give away to a competitor. They're getting nothing, and you're getting nothing.
Let's take a break.
Time is 7:37.